What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the Arizona Cardinals and Jordan Hicks seeking his own trade, as the Cardinals have said that they're going to be replacing him with rookie Zaven Collins. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, Nick. Well, it's been reported that Jordan Hicks will not be starting for the Arizona Cardinals this season. In fact, he revealed earlier this week that he was told by general manager Steve Keim that he is not going to be able to even compete to start for the Cardinals this season. In fact, that Zaven Collins, after he was drafted, will be the starting middle linebacker for this team. So that got us thinking, first, what does this mean for Jordan Hicks? And second, how good are the Arizona Cardinals linebackers going to be this season? So start off with the first thing that we have to talk about. What happens with Jordan Hicks now?
Yeah, Jordan Hicks becomes a role player. He becomes a depth piece for the Arizona Cardinals, and it's not a bad situation for the Arizona Cardinals, but for Jordan Hicks, it means that he loses any potential of having a big contract for the rest of his career or being the guy in Arizona. He now is in a role where he sees little playing time, and his main job is to be a leader for the young guys who are starting, to teach them everything that they need to know to be ready to compete and play for the Cardinals this season. So I understand Jordan Hicks' frustration with not being the starter after being such a big linebacker in the NFL for all these years, but he's on such a good team right now, and if I'm not him, I've already had my payday. I'm just looking for a ring, and the best way to do that is by telling these young linebackers everything they need to know to be ready. So if I'm him, I'd want to stick around for this Arizona Cardinals season and do what I have to stay on this roster. But I truly understand his position and wanting to potentially seek a trade.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Hicks has been given an opportunity from Steve Keim to go seek his own trade, and he'll do his best to honor that if they find one that they like. But at this point, Jordan Hicks said that he's going to remain a professional and he's going to show up to camp, which he has, and compete like he would be the starting linebacker. Jordan Hicks has been a starter in the NFL since he entered the league during his rookie year, and really has never looked back with the Philadelphia Eagles. He was a bright spot in the middle of that defense. Now he's with the Cardinals, and I mean, they are very deep at the linebacker position, specifically the middle linebacker position. When you take a look at the depth chart, they drafted Zaven Collins. They have Jordan Hicks. They have Donald Rutledge, Isaiah Simmons, Ezekiel Turner, Tanner Vallejo. There's so many names here that you can just put out onto a field. And then when you're looking at the outside linebacker position, you have Marcus Golden, Chandler Jones, Devon Kennard, Reggie Walker. You have guys that you can really just throw all over the linebacking court. And when you have guys specifically, Zaven Collins and Isaiah Simmons, these guys can be pseudo safeties. They can play linebacker, middle linebacker. They can rush the edge. They can do anything on the defensive side of the ball because they have the length, they have the quickness, they have the speed, they have just absolutely everything to be able to play all 11 positions on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and Zaven Collins was one of the guys we pointed out before the draft, saying he's one of the most athletic guys we've ever seen come into the NFL, and he is a replica of Isaiah Simmons. So having Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins not just on the same team, but right next to each other on the field is going to be demoralizing for every offense, because any quarterback that has to throw the football more than 10 yards down the field is going to have a tough time getting over those two. Those are the twin towers in the middle of the defense, and that is going to be an absolute nightmare for every quarterback they face.
Absolutely, and I understand where the Cardinals are coming from. Having those two guys in the middle of their defense is definitely something that most teams strive for, and the Cardinals have the wherewithal to get that done. My problem is that Steve Keim is dealing in absolutes. He told Jordan Hicks that there is a zero possibility for him to compete for the starting role when he's coming off being a captain for this defense. I mean, that is one of the biggest blows, not only to Jordan Hicks himself, but to the defense and to the team, because you're saying that if we can find somebody better in the draft, then you're gone, and we're not going to look back. And even though you mean so much to this team as a captain, elected by your peers, it just doesn't matter. So I think Steve Keim has to kind of watch himself here, because this could end really poorly if it was with somebody else who was going to make a big stink about it. I gotta give credit to Jordan Hicks. He has not, and he's done everything in his power to remain a consummate professional. He's done everything in his power to be the guy that's going to mentor these guys and still compete for a role in this defense. Even though he won't be starting, he'll be able to at least get some playing time and really work with this team and hopefully help them win a Super Bowl title.
Yeah, and one thing Jordan Hicks should also keep in mind is anything can happen. Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins could play safety if they need to. And the safety depth for the Cardinals is not like the linebacking core. They don't have that depth. So if the Cardinals need a safety in a pinch, they'll just take one of those guys. Jordan Hicks can take over that starting role, no problem. So his services are needed. They need him just in case, and he would be a big role because they are on the Super Bowl projection right now. And anything that happens to this team, any injury could completely take them off of that, completely derail them. And Jordan Hicks as a backup, that's a guy if something happens to our linebackers or our safeties, Jordan Hicks can come and save the day for us. So he's someone they definitely need to try to keep around.
Absolutely. And I think Jordan Hicks could be utilized in a number of different positions on a number of different teams. So the news is that he's still looking for his own trade, and still his agent is actively pursuing different opportunities that they see fit, not only for the player himself, but for the teams that he would possibly go to. All right, well, that's going to do it for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.